Hey guys, S.O.P.H.I.E here, and today's commentary is about Prejudice. The gameplay here is from Borderlands 2 on the Handsome Collection on PS4, where me and my mate Nick decided to duel after a mission, and eventually decided to go to best of 5. I won't tell you who wins, because then that would spoil the gameplay! But to the commentary. Oh, by the way, it might, switch to COD if we overrun, but I highly doubt it will, so let's get on with it. Prejudice or prejudgment can be caused by many different factors. You have religion, ethnicity, social class, language, physical abilities, age, sexual orientation. They're all examples of what may cause someone to have formed an attitude towards another person or a group of people before having enough information to form a knowledgeable opinion. Inherited characteristics such as skin colour can also cause people to be distinguished from others. Now, the main problem is that prejudice is simply a basic part of a human's complex thought process. Like, any cause could be a factor such as someone's appearance, which is another common one, or something further like what vehicle they drive. Gordon Allport noted in his book, The Nature of Prejudice, that it's a hell of a lot more likely that more than one cause of prejudice may be involved at the same time. Human societies, still to this day, may very well be prejudiced in some form, or at least to some degree. Only recently did the Church of England allow women to become priests, and many other churches are still against the very idea in itself. Prejudice has also extended throughout our history. Let us not forget the Nazis and the Holocaust, who in a way obviously were prejudiced towards the Jews, which of course was to a far more severe extent, and it was led to a tragic outcome for them, but the point does still stand. We also can't forget the times, obviously, when black people were treated so unfairly to the extent of being treated like animals by whites in society simply because of the colour of their skin. Now, I said it's part of a human's complex thought process, and whilst it certainly is true, I wouldn't try, contradict myself in the same video. It is only to a certain extent. When it leads to sheer massacre or practical abuse, that is definitely more of an evil conscious decision. It being part of our thought process doesn't excuse these kind of things, in my opinion. Evidently, prejudice has also led to murder in many cases. Obviously I've just mentioned, the Nazis and stuff with the Jews, but now I'm going to tell you something a bit more relevant to me, and it's a bit more recent too, actually. But it is a bit of a shocking story, so just brace yourselves if you feel like you need to. So, there was once a girl at my school named Sophie Lancaster, who, along with her boyfriend Robert Maltby, were both Gothic, or Goths. Again, they were very much the opposite of the public perception of this subculture, as most people who are part of this culture are. They were intelligent, they were happy, they were kind, and loving, and so on. One day things took an extremely unfortunate turn when, in a park in Bacup, which is only 2 towns away from me, as I live in a town called Haslingden, in Rossendale, which is the valley our towns are in, Lancashire, obviously England. Nearly 8 years ago, in 2007, they were both attacked by a number of male teenagers, actually. Sophie shielded Rob during the attack as he was rendered unconscious not so far into it. They were jumping on their heads and smashing them against skate ramps and just using other vulgar ways of beating them practically to death. But thankfully, a 15-year-old passerby had noticed what they had been doing and called for an ambulance. And this is what they said in there was, they're attacking these moshes just because they're moshes, or something along those lines. And so, of course, other teenage witnesses also called for help, and stayed and tried to attend their wounds, so of course they were rightfully commended by the judge at the court later on in the case. So that was great. That still kind of warms me a bit to know people like that, young people do that. But the teenage group who attacked them were really proud of themselves, telling their friends they'd done something good, and that because 2 moshes were nearly dead at Bacup Park, and that disgusts me, it rocks me to the core, really. So, Sophie went into a coma after that, and unfortunately she never regained consciousness and passed away only 13 days later. Rob did survive, but suffered serious injuries such as permanent brain damage. It was a seriously violent attack and a very tragic time, and my heart honestly still weeps for, obviously for her mother Sylvia, as well as her friends and other family to this day. Thankfully there have been many memorials in her honour now. Sophie's friends and family set up the Sophie Lancaster Foundation in memory of her. It also stands for Stamp Out Prejudice, Hate and Intolerance Everywhere. I'm going to link the website and the Facebook page in the description too. So it's definitely a shocking story, but one that was fueled by prejudice to a degree. All in all, I honestly think that as a society we could all learn to be more accepting tolerable and just less judgmental of each other. Just because that guy's got a bit more weight in him isn't an excuse to be horrible. Because that girl seems really skinny, because they're black, because they're white, old, young, goth, nerd, emo, geek, punk, because they struggle academically, because they're too clever, because they're weird, because they're Christian, because they're Muslim, Jew, wicked, even Satanist. None of it's an excuse for someone to judge another person, and prejudice is simply the ideas of a very simple-minded, and, well, to put it bluntly, shallow person. So that's how I feel about that. So guys, I've said my piece, and thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the commentary as well as the gameplay. I will see you all next time.